How you feeling? All right, there we go. My name is Yasha, and I am just here to share a little bit of my research and my PhD work that I've been doing in the field of psychology and wellness. I'm also the founder of a nonprofit academy for inner world peace. And we have been organizing Heartfire Festival events all over the country for most of the last decade. And also have a 40-acre eco-village that we are developing about an hour from here. So y'all are invited to connect. But today I have limited time to share some of these innovations with y'all. So this is what I like to call civilizational psychology. We are at a turning point in human history, facing a fork in the road. Despite having ever easier conveniences all around us, modern humans feel ever more uneasy, empty, lost, and alone. This is caused by disconnection. Collectively, it manifests as disease, pollution, warfare, and inequality. But by recognizing the holistic interconnectedness of our own well-being and life in the world, we can create health and happiness, love and connection, purpose and success, meaning and resilience, and thus learn to live more consciously and sustainably, reconnecting in harmony with ourselves, each other, nature, and the spirit. So that holistic interconnectedness I like to present as the four tetrads of well-being. A tetrad is a grouping of four things. And these four tetrads are personal, relational, vocational, and universal well-being. And so these are the realms of your life. And that's the entire purview or scope of your existence can generally be mapped onto these personal, relational, vocational, and universal components of our existence. And I use that word purview as a way to remember those words. So the first of these tetrads is personal, and these are the dimensions of your being. It's like a vertical axis, right? And connects to the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual plane. And in this personal tetrad, embodiment is the way to physical well-being. And this is based in the understanding that you are not your body. You have a body. And so you're here to inhabit your body fully and to be present in here and now with all of your senses and awake to the world as it is. On the emotional plane, you have these emotions, these feelings that come and go, that rise and fall. But we are not identified as our emotions. We have our emotions as they come and go. And so when we get that spaciousness, that awareness that we are not our emotions, we can feel them even more fully, more deeply and richly, enjoying the full spectrum of the emotional human experience. Similarly, we have all these thoughts in our head, right? And we tend to identify with our internal dialogue and think that's who we are. But it's not. And when we can create that space and that awareness that's observing our thoughts, then we open up to greater neuroplasticity and can learn new skills and expand our conscious awareness, which ultimately leads us to this lucidity in the spiritual plane of remembering who we really are as immortal souls, as the creators of our own reality, as the dreamers of our dream, awakening to ourselves as the responsible parties in our experience. And so, having cultivated that personal well-being, it creates this opportunity for authentic connection with others. And that tends to also come up against our edges and our discomforts. And so here's some practical tools to help in relating when it kind of reveals our blind spots. And so the first is to listen. Learning to really listen by opening up to connect. And opening up can even include your body language, turning towards the person you're listening to, and really allowing yourself to lay down your defenses and view the situation from their perspective for a moment. To engage to the point where you can understand and empathize where they're coming from. And with that engagement, kind of echo what you're hearing and ultimately express yourself in a way that they might be willing to understand too. And then there's the vocational tetrad, the vocational component of our well-being. And this relates to needing to have a vision of where we're going, but then needing to organize that vision into actionable steps that we can take in order to get there, not just staying in the planning phase, but beginning to act upon it, initiating. And once you start something, following through, not leaving it half done and then moving on to the next thing, but completing. And yet never really done. Once it's complete, then we further expand and scale that, as Actualize is doing right now. So this is the way to purpose and success. And finally, there's these 4 stances that we can take in life, which is to say that we can kind of complain that the problem is outside of us and do nothing about it, or avoid and pretend it's not there, or resist and kind of play the savior that's going to go fix the world. Or ultimately, we can elevate the situation. And that means to recognize the mysterious perfection of the universe, but also to actively engage in the infinite room for improvement that's there. So those are the 4 tetrads of well-being. It was a pretty, sped up version, and just want to dedicate this to peace. This information is original, like the acronyms and things. If you want to share that, reach out to me first, and this is the way to do that. So let's connect, and we've got a new podcast going, a bunch of people that are here, including Actualize founders that we'll have on there, and thank you so much for listening.